Morning, everyone. Meeting is called to order at 10:09. Apologies for the late start. We were waiting on some people that were stuck in traffic, but to honor your time, which we know is very valuable, we are going to start now. So officially the meeting has been called to order. Can I ask someone to say a prayer for us over these proceedings? Thank you very much. Can you just state your name, please?
We give you thanks for this meeting. I pray, oh God, that you would hurry up the steps of those that are on their way. Father, I pray that you will just deliberate, have your own way, so whatever we do will be done to your name's honor and glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Welcome to everyone here this morning, shareholders, proxies, if any, and guests. Also, a huge welcome to those online and on social media. Let me ask, can everyone online hear? Can you indicate that you can hear and see us adequately? And can someone let me know what the response is, as I don't have a computer in front of me? Great. So let me start by introducing our board members and management team. I am Mitri Siaga, and I'm the non-executive director and chairman of Spur Spices. To my right, we have Mrs. Ruth Josephs, who is our corporate secretary. To her right is our CEO, Mr. Albert Bailey. Let me skip the next person and go to Mr. Harinarayan Jagnarayan, more commonly known to us as the lovable Mohan. Then we have Mr. Anand James, one of the founding fathers. We have online with us Daniel Terrelong, who I'm not seeing, and he may be online, is Mr. Stephen Ricketts, and Yana Samuels, who is on her way here. She has stated so. The person I did leave out was Mr. Kareem Tomlinson, who is going to be, and it is the intention of the board, to appoint Mr. Tomlinson, Mr. Kareem Tomlinson from Grace, GK Finance, to our board just after this meeting. So welcome Kareem, and I'd ask you all to welcome him to our board. And last but not least, our mentor, Tanya Waldron Gooden, who is, I think, online, but she's not here with us today. Our management team, the people that do the real work. Rani Badalu is our marketing manager. Rani is at the back. Venetia Thomas, our chief accountant. Tamara Sams, our inventory manager. Is Tamara here with us? No. Sarita McDonald, our production manager. Fiona Downs, quality assurance. And Rory Atkinson, chief design officer. I also first of all, I want to thank them for their hard work and their dedication to the company. Without you, it would not happen. I'd also like to introduce our auditors, BDO Chartered Accountants, represented by Mr. Ricardo Laird. Our attorneys at law, represented by Chanel May Brown and Rachel Pohl. The registrar and transfer agents at the Jamaica Central Security Deposits are Chantel Scarlett Dennis and Anthony Dixon, who I think are outside. Now that we have gotten that out of the way, let me ask, first of all, to our Company Secretary, do we have a quorum, Madam Secretary? Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any apologies for absence? No apologies for absence. The only apology that I have is from Yana Samuels, our board member, that she's running a few minutes late. Do we have any proxies? No proxies. As I said before, anybody that's going to speak during this meeting, I'm going to ask you to just identify yourself. And please bear in mind that we want to keep the meeting as concise as possible. So I'm asking that we ask our questions and give time for the answer. Also, to those monitoring the platforms, if there are any questions, please advise us. I want to give the voting instructions. Well, first of all, let me ask, are there any questions or comments that anyone would like to make or ask at this time? Okay. There being none. The voting instructions are as follows. Shareholders and proxy holders physically present will vote by a raise of hand. And shareholders on the electronic platform will vote by the hand raise icon. So the first resolution that we have on the agenda is the resolution re our audited accounts. Resolution number 1, that the audited accounts for the year ended December 31st, 2023, together with the reports of the Board of Directors and Auditor, be and are hereby adopted. Would we not have the report first? Okay, yes. I think so too. So let's move to the auditor's report. Or you want to give me yours? Yes. Thank you. Okay. The notice convening the meeting has been circulated to shareholders, and that being the case, ladies and gentlemen, with your permission, I'll take the notice of the meeting as read. I then will now give my chairman's report. Spur Tree Spice's financial year 2023 was a mix of success and challenges as we navigated a complex business environment. We are proud of our achievements, which have made us stronger, more robust, and further diversified the company on the global stage. In 2023, we faced extended drought conditions and rising raw material costs. Despite these obstacles, we stayed focused on our core growth objectives, brand development, market expansion, and value creation, while implementing several initiatives to protect our business prospects. Amidst these challenges, we made significant gains by broadening our market, introducing innovative products, and implementing sustainable solutions to mitigate similar challenges in the future. We are pleased to report record-breaking revenue of $1.5 billion for the fiscal year 2023. A nearly 42% increase over the previous year. We successfully launched several new products locally and internationally, including Bami, coconut milk, coconut cream, and a 10-ounce version of our best-selling pepper sauces and browning. However, rising raw material prices caused our gross profit margins to fall from 32% in 2022 to 28% in 2023, impacting net profit, which decreased from $115.6 million to $80 million. Despite this, we remain optimistic about future performance. Proactive steps have been taken to stabilize our raw material supply, including strengthening our farming partnerships and undertaking significant investments in storage capacity, which will help with the recovery and improve our gross margins in the coming years. We continually seek to optimize production processes and adopt technological advances. In 2023, we invested in upgrading existing production lines while adding 4 new ones to increase capacity for existing and soon to launch new products. We anticipate further expansion of our product offerings and revenue growth as planned, are well advanced to launch several new and innovative products in 2024. Spur Tree Spices is committed to excellence and is well positioned for a new era of growth and success. I am particularly pleased to highlight that our outstanding revenue growth was achieved from both the local and export business. The company's local revenue grew by 75%, while export sales were up 21% over 2023. This growth is a direct result of our relentless efforts to strengthen our presence through creative marketing initiatives, and improve our local and international distribution networks. And if I am not mistaken, Mr. Jagnar is on a plane this week to New York to go tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, to go and hit the pavement as he usually does. Our immense success in the local market shows the effectiveness of our targeted efforts, especially in the food service sector, and the continued resonance of our brand with retail customers. We have achieved significant market penetration by strategically positioning our products and engaging with our local customer base. Similarly, our growth in the export sector stemmed from targeted efforts, especially in the Canadian and Guyanese markets, while maintaining a strong underground promotional presence in our main markets in the United States. The company continues to maintain the priority of quality standards. We have successfully maintained our SQF, Safe Quality Food Certification, an internationally recognized benchmark in food safety under the Global Food Safety Initiative. For the past 4 years, we have proudly upheld the certification as we are committed to maintaining the highest standards of quality and safety in all aspects of our operations. The year 2023 has laid a solid foundation for an exhilarating journey ahead. We are proud to have launched several innovative new products and will continue introducing more throughout the year. Spur Tree Spices remains an innovative, diverse food brand, offering unique Jamaican food solutions with over 30 product launches planned for 2024, many of which are firsts in the Jamaican food space. We are set to expand our market presence and delight our customers with great tasting meals. We are honored to receive a special award at the RGR Honor Awards 2022 ceremony in 2023, recognizing our successful transition from a season and spices company to a full-fledged food manufacturer. Our dedicated team has been the backbone of our success, navigating challenges with agility and providing high-quality products for our customers. Their hard work and commitment have been instrumental in maintaining our standards of excellence and driving the company forward. We are incredibly grateful for their contributions, and I would ask you at this time to give our team at Spur Tree a huge hand. As chairman of this great company, I am confident in the company's ability to navigate challenges and seize market opportunities. Our commitment to quality products, brand investment, and innovation position us for continued success. We are dedicated to achieving sustainable growth and creating shareholder value as we guide Spur Spices Jamaica Limited to greater heights. We sincerely thank you, our shareholders, our customers, and our employees for your continued unwavering support. The future holds great promise, brimming with opportunities for prosperity and excitement. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the driver of this company, our CEO, Mr. Albert Bailey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to everybody, management, directors, staff, and not by any stretch of imagination, the least or most important stakeholder was shareholders. Pleasant good morning to you. I'm going to be directing your attention to a presentation that we have. So I might need to shift my position a bit. And yeah, I'm going to take the mic, but I might need to. The tree is a little bit of a... So if you be patient with us a little bit, might need to move this. But while I do that, let me just use this opportunity to really say a big thank you to somebody in this room. Our marketing manager, Rani Badalu. I know Rani doesn't like to be highlighted, but Rani, come around so everybody can see you. Come and stand beside me. Come and stand beside me, Rani. Now, the first thing I want to say to you is that this year Thank you. This year we took on the arduous task of doing the annual report wholly and totally in-house. And this was led by our very able marketing manager, Rani. The work, and you can, for those of you who have a copy of the annual report, you can see the work that went into it. It's absolutely fantabulous, if I can coin a word. There were sleepless nights and a lot of sacrifice. And all of this event today again is organized by her. So let's put our hands together for her. Thank you very much, Rani. Okay. I'm going to direct your... So in the annual report, we have the MD&A, and you can read that as you have the time. And I want to point out that the annual report is also on our website, and it's also on the JC website. But I'm going to speak from a presentation that we have here. So 2023 was what we call a challenging but also rewarding year. And in order to put everything into perspective, I just wanted to highlight some of what we achieved in 2022. In 2022, we had a very successful initial public IPO. That was at the beginning of January 2022. We also acquired 51% interest in Canco Limited. We continued growth and expansion both in the export and local market, and the numbers are there. So some of the financial highlights: revenue went up in 2022, hit the $1 billion mark, and that was amazing for a small company that started with just a very small commercial blender. Our gross profit was up 17%, our net profit was up 27%, cash and cash equivalent went up by 57%, our total asset went up by over 150%, and our shareholders' equity increased by 114%. So that, in all contexts, would have clearly indicated that we have set a very solid platform for growth. And here it is that we had highlighted some outlook in our presentation in our annual report for 2022, that will continue to build strategic investments in terms of capacity, brand, and those were going to help us in terms of our revenue growth and our profit growth. Now, what is the performance of 2023? The chairman would have highlighted some of these facts already. We had significant revenue growth of 42%, which is 1.4, went up from $1 billion to $1.45 billion approximately. Our gross profit, though, went up by only 24%. And our net profit went down by 30%, approximately 31%. Our total asset went up by about 3%, and our shareholders' equity went up by about 6%. The focus of my presentation is going to, and when I said it was 2023 was a challenging year, it is because of the impact of certain environmental conditions that we face. There are two intervening events coming out of late 2022 into 2023. So we had significant drought condition late 2022. In fact, in October 2023, the Prime Minister gave an update to Parliament. And I'm going to quote a section from his update. And I quote, "In October 2022 to March 2023, Jamaica received cumulatively the lowest rainfall over this period since records have been kept." And as you know, there's a cell phone that's going off. Okay. As you know that our core products, our core inputs come from raw materials sourced in Jamaica. And that's what gives Spur its authenticity. And that's something that we pride ourselves in. So our business was significantly impacted by these conditions. Not only did we have this prolonged drought, but in November 2023, just when the agriculture industry was recovering, we have excessive rainfalls. I don't know if you remember that. And that really devastated the whole recovery process. So what happened is that these two intervening events caused significant setback to our business. So we had severe weather condition One, it affected the availability of raw materials significantly. I think over 70% of our business at that point in time depended on these raw materials. And if I include our composite business, which includes Aki, which also was affected, it's over 90% of our business. From this, we saw the cost of inputs going up significantly. And although we grew revenue by 42%, there were times when we could not fulfill orders because of lack of raw material. And that is what affected the decline in our profit. So I just wanted to put that in context so that everybody could understand. And I have here a graphical representation of some of the challenges that we face. So you can see these are our major inputs. Like scallion went up to $300, $350 a pound. Pimento went up significantly. Thyme went up significantly. Pepper. But even at that price, you could not get raw material. So what happened in 2023 is that we had a very good first quarter, because it is always the goal of this company to keep a certain level of raw material stock. But by the end of the first quarter, we had totally depleted our raw material stock. So if you look at the results for the first quarter in 2023, we would have posted a profit of $47 million. So $47 million of the $80 million that was achieved in the first quarter because we had raw material. Now, I just did a chart here to show you an alternative position, an alternate scenario, rather, of just the impact on our gross profit. In 2022, we had achieved a gross margin of 32.19%, I think. Although our target is to get that to 35%. So we had hoped that in 2023, we'd have pushed that closer to that 35% margin. But as the chairman pointed out in his report, our gross margin fell to 28%. Now, what is the impact of that? So what we have there is the actual numbers as against, if just the scenario, if we had maintained our 32%, at least maintain our 32% gross margin, that with the 42% growth in revenue, that our gross profit would be up 42% and our profit position would have improved from $80 million to $138 million, right? Which would be approximately, when you round it up, is really about 20% increase we would have seen rather than a decline of 30%. So I just wanted to give our shareholders context in terms of the performance, and that is where we spoke to the issue of challenging circumstances. But being the dynamic company that we are, we did not just sit and mope about this, but we went to work. Good. So we actually made a lot of moves. So these factors compel us to take decisive action to substantially increase our investment and fast-track our transformation into a food company. And I want to point out that on the previous slide, what it doesn't take account of is two things. I remember that. I said that the revenue would have been higher, and also we had to incur additional expenditure to just accommodate the transitional process that we now had to engage. So this shift was essential to achieving a more balanced lineup of products and reducing our dependency on these highly vulnerable raw material. So we had indicated in 2022 that we are going to be transitioning the business to becoming a more food-oriented company rather than a season and spice company. So that vision, those strategies were shared already, but with these intervening events and the impact, we had to now accelerate that. So we set out to do that. Do I need to press that way? Okay. All right, so our response. And again, I want to commend our team, right? And Chairman spoke to the team. We have an excellent team that is working at Spur, and that is why Spur continue and to be one of the most innovative companies I know that there is in this nation. So there are three major categories that we looked at, which is product development. We had to bring on new products that, are not in this category, where we are dependent on vulnerable raw materials. We also had to do capacity building if we're going to bring on new lines and new products. And then we also looked at this and say, while our long-term goal is to get the sauces and spices business to about 50% of the overall portfolio, but that is going to take us time. That's probably going to take, what I call about a 3 to 5 year strategy. But how do we navigate that in the interim? So, because, and I'm going to give you a scenario here. The demand for these raw materials are increasing at a much greater pace than the investment in agriculture is taking place. So what you find is that without even these intervening conditions, like weather conditions, there are general shortages on the market, and that is driving up price. So we generally need more investment in agriculture to sustain it. You'll look around and you see a lot of hotels and the expansion of the tourism industry. That is helping to drive demand for these items. The population is growing. That is helping to drive demand. Exporting these things are growing. That is helping to drive demand. But investment is not taking place. So we looked at this and we analyzed the industry. And we said one of the things that we have to do, we had to look at ways of supplementing our own needs by undertaking some investment in farming. So on the product development, we had launching and rebranding. On the capacity building, we looked at how do we upgrade our current infrastructure and capacity, and also how do we upgrade infrastructure and equipment for new product rollout. So the diversification of our product portfolio became very necessary. It was not just a goal now, but it was very necessary in light of the challenges that we see. By launching new products that are less reliant on climate vulnerable raw materials, we are safeguarding our future and ensuring resilience and positioning ourselves to thrive in an increasingly unpredictable environment. So that's what became clear to us, and that's what we pursue. So new products are true to Spur Tree, and this is what we also wanted to do, and then you'll see that with all the new products that we have launched, that there are certain core values that we'll never compromise on in terms of the authenticity of the Jamaican flavor, the quality of the product, and value to our customers, which are the core tenets of our value proposition. And then also a commitment to innovation, sustainability, and long-term success is very key to that also. This is an example of some of the products that we have launched, and all of these products are produced in-house, right? And we are excited about these new products. So like our festival mix there and our fried chicken mix, we see that, well, I cannot get up one day without my partner over there having 15 conversations with me about fried chicken mix.
That's where the lines are.
Right?
That's where the lines are. The lines are at fried chicken.
Right. But it's an excellent product. It is an excellent product, and it's an excellent product, and we know that this is going to do very well for us. We also launched a line of dry spices, and I'll just tell you this, that we have always played in the wet seasoning space, but worldwide, dry seasoning sells far more than wet seasoning. So we are expanding there. Now that we have an established brand and there's quality associated with the brand. So there's a lot of work that went into it, and you can see, once you look at the graphics, right, and you'll see the quality. So what you're seeing on the outside in terms of the quality presentation is also represented on the inside in terms of the quality of the product. Again, and this is what I'm saying to you, all of this work, all the graphics, all the presentation that you see there, everything is done by the in-house team, right? This is not any consultant or anybody that has come in and imparted this to us. The team developed everything from scratch. Product rebranding was a very core initiative for us also, because in order to get greater market penetration, there are areas where our products could not reach just because of how they were presented. And one of those spaces is like the online space. So we are not well represented in terms of online sales, right? Being prominently in places like Amazon, which is a tremendous opportunity. So we took all of that into the rebranding exercise. And we were always also wanted to just elevate the overall brand experience for our customer. So you'll see that we are introducing bold, bright designs to significantly boost our shelf appeal and ensure our products stand out and resonate more powerfully with customers. So this is a part of our rebranding there. Now we have more flexible packaging, and I said that now it opens opportunity for us, for our products to be represented in certain spaces that they weren't represented. Isn't this looking good? Again, thanks to our internal team. We rebranded, this is just a part of our rebranding. Our existing seasonings were also rebranded, and Kalaloo and Aki. I have to point that, okay. All right, so to our capacity building, right? And this is all the work that, oh, I have to go back. This way, sorry, I keep pointing that way. Yes, to our capacity building, this is again, we use the opportunity during this time to understand that if we are going to launch all of these new products, we had to build capacity. But not just capacity to facilitate the new product, but capacity to facilitate larger volume of existing products. So, like our kettles, we had all of our products that we produce are pasteurized. This, our biggest market is the US, and therefore that is required by the FDA. So we need to cook our products before they are bottled. And so like, just an example here, we had like 100-gallon kettles that we were working with. We upgraded to 400-gallon kettles and more kettles than we had previously, right? So that's a part of what we did there. And we also increased our filling, the capacity of our filling lines, and that will now enable us to just produce more. I was commenting to Ronnie yesterday that, for example, there's a line that we had that before the upgrading, we could produce, I think, about 150 to 180 cases. And on Monday, when I was at the office, we produced, after upgrading the line, we produced over 500 cases on that line. Yes, Monday, right. So that's the kind of work that we have done and the benefit that we expect to get from it. Part of the capacity building is to not just expand the growth of the Spur tree line, but there's a service that we have always extended to other manufacturers. Because, and that's as a Jamaican company, there are other manufacturers or other, other brands who are, I would call entrepreneur, who has ideas and don't have the capacity or the wherewithal to produce and to get their products to market. So we offer the service of private label, and we have always done that. Some of the local companies that we private label for right now, like Seprod, Newpack, Carl's Manufacturing, just to name a few, right? But so the capacity that we have built is also helping us to expand the service of private labeling. There was an article in the Observer last year about the agreement that we have with a large company in Atlanta called Back Food, that we are actually private labeling products for. There's another company in Bahamas. And these companies are taking container load at a time, right? Called Blackbeard, that we are sending container loads of products to. There's a company in Florida called Royal Montego that we are doing that. So the capacity has helped us. The improved capacity has helped us to do that. I have to go back. Right. So the next initiative was our farming initiative. With the increased demand for the raw materials that we need in the general sector and the vulnerabilities that exist, we had to make the decision that while we continue to support our local farmers, we don't think that enough capacity is there to supply, to meet our growing demands. And therefore, we made the decision to invest in farming. And I tell you something, shareholders, this was very timely, because at the beginning of this year, there was absolutely no pepper on the market. So we took over a farm that I think at the time had the only pepper available that we could have gotten. Right? So it helped us in terms of our ability to continue to supply products to market. Oh, I think I went the wrong way. Yes. Yes. Right. Oh. All right. I don't know why it's jumping. All right. There we are. So we acquired a 248-acre farm that had all the infrastructure already through a joint venture arrangement, right? So all the infrastructure that is in there, it is irrigated, everything we acquired equipment, and all the associated necessities. We currently have, as a first phase, we currently have over 35 acres of pepper under cultivation right now, which is Scotch bonnet and West Indian red pepper. What's the significance of that? And obviously, we were praying very hard during the recent passage of burial, right? And we are thankful to God that we were spared the worst. So we had some initial damage, but the team at the farm has worked very hard in terms of the recovery process. In fact, we had indicated that from the current acreage under cultivation, we had expected about 650,000 pounds of pepper, and our recent estimate that has been downgraded to just 50,000 less. So we have come out of the hurricane in a very positive way. That is going to ensure, because that we have this critical raw material moving forward for the rest of the year, once we don't have any more. Right. Because, yes, because what happens is that you know what has happened to St. Elizabeth and Manchester, where you get most of these ingredients from. So that is what has happened. And we intend to further once we get to like October, November, we intend to put more. So what this will help us is that we'll now move to a stage where we can build back our raw material storage coming out of the farm. But we wanted to make note of this. We have farming partners, and they have always been critical to our business. So this initiative is not to, eliminate them, but is to build with them, right? So that is key to us in terms of our strategy moving forward, because we have always used that adage: we want to keep farmers farming. This is just a picture of one of the acreage. I think this is the West Indian red pepper. This is about 12 acres. It's not fully captured by the picture, but just a representation, so you can see the evidence of it. Again, just a representation there. Okay. All right. Also, the same initiatives that we are undertaking in our parent company, which is Spur Spices, it is the same initiatives that we are undertaking in our subsidiaries. Our subsidiaries primarily produce ackee and callaloo. And so one of the challenges that we have seen over the past, I would think, 2 years, is that the weather condition is also affecting the availability of ackee. The good thing about ackee is that you're always going to have more demand than you can supply. So it's a good business to be in, but at the same time, it is seasonal, and therefore you have to now supplement production in the factory throughout the year. So what we're doing is to cover those periods when you don't have ackee. So what we're doing is diversifying the operation and bringing online more products, complementary products in these entities. So with Canco, which has the brand Linstead Market, and many of you would be familiar with the Linstead Market brand, we have put on a second line, and we have introduced a number of products under that Linstead Market brand that will now be marketed as a separate entity, right? So there are 2 brands that are being managed by the company now, which is the Spur brand and the Linstead Market brand. Exotic Product is a wholly owned subsidiary of Spur Spices, but Exotic has a different function. So Exotic is really focusing on manufacturing products for Spur Spices. So as distinct from Linseed Market or Canco, which has a separate brand that they produce items under the Linseed Market brand, Exotic primarily is producing items and then sell those items to Spur. So like the Aki and the Callaloo and these additional items that will come out of Exotic will be done for Spur Spices. So we have this same diversification. This is just a representation of some of the items under the Linseed Market brand. Obviously, the Aki and the Callaloo is not there, but this is just showing like the newer items. Outlook for 2024. We expect that we'll continue to grow revenue significantly in 2024, coming out of these initiatives. The first half of 2024 is not going to be as strong as the second half, because the first half, the recovery process will take us through the first half of 2024. What we expect from the third quarter moving forward, that we'll be posting very strong results coming out of these initiatives as these new products hit the market in full. So right now we had a launch event in May and we're getting these new products out, but you know, in terms of having full market penetration, it's going to take us some time. So we expect to see most of the benefit accruing in the third quarter and the fourth quarter moving forward. Keep pressing the wrong way. All right. Our gross margin, the investment that we have made in the farm and also the investment in new products, which we deliberately went out to look at products that will have not just eliminate the vulnerability that we have in terms of the core products that we have now, but also what we consider to be more profitable products that gives us higher gross margins. So we expect to improve our margins from the new product and the rebranding product. And part of the initiative with the rebranding too is that the rebranding of those products will afford us to get better margins from them. So we expect a profit growth and recovery in 2024, and especially driven by the last 2 quarters of this year. Our projection is that we should see somewhere in the region of a 50% increase in profit this year from increased revenue and also from reduced costs and improved gross margins. All right, so shareholders, we thank you for your patience with us, but I want to say that the team has been working very hard. I know that, you know, and the reason why I took the liberty to go through step by step for you to understand what we have been doing is because I know that our profit dipped a bit last year. And I wanted you to understand exactly what happened, the impact it had, and what this company has done in terms of ensuring that we use those challenges and turn them into opportunities so that we can build a better future moving forward for all stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. I hope that everyone here can see the forward thinking that the management team and the executive team has by ensuring that when problems arise, that we put the mitigating factors in place to make sure that they don't happen again. And the vertical integration that the company is going through now, that is causing us to have some lower earnings than we would like, is going to redound to the benefit of the company in the long run. So I hope you can see that and appreciate that and understand that when we come out of this, Spur 3 is going to be a lean, mean fighting machine. And we're going to be ready to take on even the big players. I would now ask, and by the way, I just want to state that there was nothing wrong with my papers. Our very excellent corporate secretary just advised me that I turned to the wrong page. So it was my fault. Now I'm going to invite Mr. Ricardo Laird, representative from BDO, to present his auditor's report.
Good morning again. Great. All right. So we're going to see how quickly we can just run through the auditor's report. All right. Oh, no. Is it though? You know? All right. Okay, great. All right. Morning again, everyone. Manager's responsibility just to share with you the auditor's report. Concluded for the period ending 31st of December, 2023. Now, you can find the entire report in your booklet on page 41, starting from page 41. So I'll just read as follows. So, to the members of Spur 3 Spices Jamaica Limited, this is a report on the audit of the financial statements. Our opinion, we have audited the financial statements of Spur 3 Jamaica Limited, the company, comprising the standalone financial statements of the company and the consolidated financial statements of the company and its subsidiaries, collectively the group, which are set out on pages 46 to 102, which comprises the group's and the company's statement of financial position as at the 31st of December 2023, the group's and the company's statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, changes in equity and cash flows for the year then ended, and notes comprising material accounting policies and other explanatory information. In our opinion, the accompanying standalone and consolidated financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of the group and the company as at the 31st of December 2023, and of the group's and the company's financial position, performance, and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with IFRS accounting standards as issued by International Accounting Standards Board, IFRS accounting standards, and the requirement of the Jamaica Companies Act. The basis for opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with international standards on auditing, which is ISAs. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibility for the audit of the financial statement section of our report. We are independent of the company in accordance with International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants, International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, including International Independent Standards, which is the IESBA code, and we have fulfilled our other responsibilities in accordance with these requirements and the IESBA code. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Key audit matters. Now, key audit matters are those matters that, in our professional judgment, were of most significance in our audit of the consolidated and standalone financial statements of the current period. These matters were addressed in the context of our audit of the consolidated and standalone financial statement as a whole, and informing our opinion thereon, and we do not provide a separate opinion on these matters. First key audit matter, and the only key audit matter, was the impairment assessment of goodwill. See Note 2B and 2H and 12 of the consolidated financial statements. Now, the carrying value of the group's goodwill may not be our concern, or was that the carrying value of the group's goodwill may not be recoverable due to the changes in the business and economic condition in which a subsidiary operates. Now, these factors create inherent uncertainty in forecasting and require significant judgment in estimating and discounting future cash flows that supports the assessment of recoverability. Management determined the recoverable amount by reference to value in use, which is based on discounted cash flows over which the management makes significant judgment on key inputs. As a result of the assessment, management determined that there was no impairment as at the 31st of December 2023. We focused on this area as the goodwill impairment assessment requires significant management judgment and estimation. Now, management's impairment assessment was tested by performing the following procedures, amongst others. 1, we obtained management discounted cash flows, DCF, including qualitative and quantitative analysis, and obtained an understanding of the process used by management to determine the value in use of each cash-generating unit, CGU. Number 2, we compared management assumptions to external derived data, as well as our own assessment of key inputs such as projected economic growth, competition, cost inflation, and discount rates, as well as performing sensitivity analysis on the assumptions. And 3, we tested management's impairment testing model calculation for mathematical accuracy. And based on our audit evidence or the procedures performed, no adjustments was made to the financial statements. Other information. Now, management is responsible for the other information. Now, the other information comprises the information included in the annual report, but does not include the financial statements and our audit report thereon. The audit report is expected to be made available to us after the date of the auditor's report. So our opinion on the financial statement does not cover the other information, and we will not express any form of assurance conclusion thereon. In connection with our audit of the financial statements, our responsibility is to read the other information identified above when it becomes available, and in doing so, consider whether the other information is materially inconsistent with the financial statements or our knowledge obtained in the audit, or otherwise appears to be materially misstated. While we read the annual report, if we conclude that there is a material misstatement therein, we are required to communicate the matter to those charged with governance. The responsibility of management and those charged with governance for the financial statements. Now, management is responsible for the preparation of the financial statements that give a true and fair view in accordance with IFRS accounting standards and with the requirement of the Jamaica's Companies Act, and for such internal controls as management determines is necessary to enable the preparation of the financial statements that are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. In preparing the financial statements, management is responsible for assessing the group's and the company's ability to continue as a going concern, disclosing as appropriate matters related to going concern, and using the going concern basis of accounting unless management either intends to liquidate the group or the company or to cease operation or has no realistic alternative than to do so. Those charged with governance are responsible for overseeing the group's and the company's financial reporting process. The auditor's responsibility for the audit of the financial statements. Our objectives are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue our auditor's report that includes our opinion. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, but it's not a guarantee that our audit concluded in accordance with ISAs will always detect a material misstatement when it exists. Misstatements can arise from fraud or error and are considered material if, individually or in aggregate, they could reasonably be expected to influence economic decisions of the users taken on the basis of these financial statements. As part of an audit in accordance with ISAs, we exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. We also identify and assess the risk of material misstatement of the financial statement, whether due to fraud or error. We design and perform audit procedures responsive to those risks and obtain audit evidence that is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. The risk of not detecting a material misstatement resulting from fraud is higher than for one resulting from error, as fraud may involve collusion, forgery, intentional omission, misrepresentation, or the override of internal controls. We also obtain an understanding of the internal control relevant to the audit in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstance, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the group's and the company's internal control. We also evaluate the appropriateness of the accounting policies used and the reasonableness of the accounting estimates and related disclosures made by management. We also conclude on the appropriateness of management's use of the going concern basis for accounting, and based on the audit evidence obtained, whether a material uncertainty exists relating to events or conditions that may cast significant doubt on the group's and the company's ability to continue as a going concern. If we conclude that a material uncertainty exists, we are required to draw in our auditor's report to the related disclosure in the consolidated and standalone financial statements, or if such disclosures are inadequate, to modify our opinion. Our conclusion are based on the audit evidence obtained up to the date of our auditor's report. However, future events or conditions may cause the company or the group to cease to continue as a going concern. We also evaluate the overall presentation, the structure, and the content of the financial statements, including the disclosures and whether the financial statements represent the underlying transaction and events in a manner that achieves fair presentation. We obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding the financial information of the company or business activities within the group to express an opinion on the consolidated financial statements. We are responsible for the direction, the supervision, and the performance of the group audit, and we remain solely responsible for our opinion. We communicate with those charged with governance regarding, among other matters, the planned scope and timing of the audit and the significant audit findings, including any significant deficiency in internal controls that we identify during our audit. We also provide those charged with governance with a statement that we have complied with the relevant ethical requirements regarding independence and communicate with them all relationships and other matters that may reasonably be thought to bear on our independence and, where applicable, related safeguards. From the matters communicated with those charged with governance, we determine those matters that were of most significance in the audit of the financial statements of the current year and are therefore the key audit matters. We describe these matters in our auditor's report unless the law or regulatory precludes public disclosure about the matter, or when, in extreme rare circumstances, we determine that the matter should not be communicated in a report because the adverse consequences of doing so would reasonably be expected to outweigh the public interest benefit of such communication. Report on additional matters as required by the Jamaica Companies Act. We have obtained all the information and explanation which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. In our opinion, proper accounting records have been kept so far as appears from our examination of those records, and the financial statements which are in agreement therewith give the information required by the Jamaica Companies Act in the manner required. The engagement partner on the audit resulted in this independent audit report is Jennifer Hibbert, signed by BDO Chartered Accountant on the 17th of May, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That wasn't too bad. Okay, now I'm going to open the floor. I'm going to remind everyone that the floor is open to shareholders who are here and who are online. So the meeting is now open for questions and comments. Mr. Rose, come on. Don't disappoint me. Can turn on the mic, please, Mr. Rose. Can be heard? You can just identify yourself, please, Mr. Rose. For the minutes, for the minutes.
Check. Working, all right, working now. Perfect. So, morning to the board of directors and other shareholders in person and online, individual shareholder. So, apologies for coming late, 4 meetings before I came here. So, the first question is, when was Karim appointed to the board?
He has not been appointed to the board, as we had stated earlier before he came, that it is intention to appoint him to the board tomorrow morning,
Understood.
or right after the meeting.
Sorry, he's right there, so, and he just
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
like a
yeah,
sore thumb,
understandable.
so.
If the other company wasn't more important than us, you'd have come here first. But anyway,
And thanks.
I hope you feel that he's a good addition to the board.
He has sense.
Okay.
So, first question, why is the company changing its auditor now?
I will defer the question to the head
CEO.
to the head of the audit committee. The
Why are you
chairman
changing the
of audit.
auditor?
Why
are
are
you
we
changing
changing
the
our
auditor?
auditors?
Why are you changing your auditors?
Mike.
Difficulty in the last 2 years reporting, and we had some delays, as all of you are aware. It has been published. It's not something that we are not aware of. And so we looked around, and we consider, and we decided to look again, and we have done so.
Understood, because it just came out of nowhere, that's why I had to ask.
Well, if you saw that our financials were late.
It's standard at this point in Jamaica, so
Yeah,
you're not unique.
I'm glad you brought it up, because the truth is that, yes, there are some issues in the industry, and we recognize that. However, we are very, very careful in that we feel that there are regulations to be met, and we are going to meet them, and we're not going to lower our standards to the standards because it's Jamaica. We feel we're going to do what we need to do. And BDO wasn't, we felt, the company for us to move forward with at this time.
Understood, Chairman. So my next question would be with respect to burial. I don't miss that portion, but
With respect to
hurricane burial.
burial, yes. I will. So our CEO went through a full report and stated that whilst burial did have some effect on us, we were blessed in the fact that we had made some moves prior to, and we got spared the brunt of the damage. However, we anticipate there will be more burials to come.
Hopefully not.
Well, listen, where we live is where we live. And what we are doing is we are putting the things in place to make sure that we are not affected, that all our eggs are not in one basket or our peppers are not in one field. So we are doing that to make sure that the impact is lessened when it does happen.
Thanks. And just to segue into that discussion, so is it that the mitigation strategies include multiple other secondary partners or different location farms?
Yeah, Albert, you want to take that?
Thank you for the question, David. No, as I indicated in my presentation, the farm that we have, although sizable, is to supplement our existing relationship with other farmers. So that farm specifically is in Portmore, St. Catherine. But we have farmers scattered throughout the length and breadth of Jamaica. So strategically, we are continuing to harness those relationships while also investing in this farm directly here. So that is what the chairman is referring to.
Understood. And then just a subsequent question now, Chair, directed to the CEO. So we know that CANCO is going through a transitionary period, basically. So in the first quarter, they'd have had a $5.73 million net loss. I calculated the NCI to get by the net loss, but yeah. I had a municipality presentation earlier, but I heard you mention some of the steps that have been taken to, diversify the product range. But when do you expect to get back to break even for CANCO right now?
Thank you for that question also. So, as we all know, we invested in CANCO because we believe that the Linseed Market brand is an iconic Jamaican brand that has tremendous value. So what we are working to do is pretty early stage. What we are working to do is to diversify that brand and extract the value from the Linseed Market brand. And that's why I pointed out that now we are managing two brands, the Spur Tree brand and the Linseed Market brand. There's a heavy dependency in CANCO right now on Aki and Kalaloo, which I pointed out is seasonal. So the diversification plan is to get additional products in that company rolled out to market, and I alluded to some that have already taken place. But in the short term, while we build that portfolio of product and get market penetration with those products, we're still going to be dependent on Aki and Kalaloo. And you're going to see some fluctuation in terms of quarterly results coming out of that, dependent on whether Aki is available or not. That's the reality. Now, in terms of specifically on the question of whether when we'll have a break-even position, we expect CANCO to be in a profitable position this year, by the end of this financial year, based on our projections. So we'll move beyond break-even this year into a profitable position this year.
You mean next year? Oh.
No, this 2024, sorry. I know we're reporting on 2023. So 2023 was almost a break-even position in CANCO. But you're going to see fluctuation in terms of the quarterly results, but overall, because we're coming up to the most sizable Aki crop for the year, and therefore the results coming out of that, although they would have made losses as indicated there in the first quarter, once we get to the third and the fourth quarter, we should be able to recover and move the company into a profitable position, supplemented by the new products.
Thanks.
Don't worry, Mr. Rose. The board has asked that very question of the CEO, and and we have gotten the assurance.
Well, you're going to see the results too, so.
Yeah, exactly. So
probably 2 or 3 more questions for the CEO at this point. So my next question is, I recall in the past, you would have signed up with massive distribution to improve your distribution reach in Jamaica, and you'd have also been using massive to somewhat bridge yourself into the Caribbean. So how has that recent initiative been going in terms of that distribution reach to improve your product range across the region?
Okay, so that agreement hasn't gone as well as we had anticipated. I didn't go as well as we had anticipated. However, what you would have seen in terms of the local growth is that our local growth went up by 75% last year. So we have transitioned away from the local arrangement with Massey. And we have pursued other opportunities and avenues, and we are seeing tremendous growth in the local market. And although I did not point that out specifically in my presentation, our interest in the local market, our focus rather in the local market is very significant at this time, because we think there's in way as soon as possible. As soon as we can negotiate and finalize those moves.
So is it that you're mentioning you're looking to further build out that strategy with Massey?
We hope to carry that into although away from Jamaica.
Understood. Understood. So, is new, was it that Spur Tree did a survey or some level of market study to understand the needs of the market and see how best you could penetrate these different segments which are heavily covered in the supermarket?
Repeat the last part of it. I didn't hear
Apologies, I was
just the
saying-
last part of the question.
So I was saying, in terms of the ability to penetrate those different segments, considering how crowded the supermarket shelf really is.
Okay, so let me address the local part of that first, because I think all our shareholders would know by now realize that our main focus is always on export, and about 90% of what we produce are sold in the export market. So there are tremendous opportunities in the export market for these additional products. In fact, what this does is to help us to now acquire what I call more space in terms of a floor plan in the supermarket, because what they would typically give you is like a 4-foot or 8-foot floor plan. Previously, we did not have adequate product to leverage that kind of opportunity. And so these additional products are going to help us with that. In terms of the local market, we're not just looking at the supermarket footprint, but we believe that there is greater access, even greater access to revenue in the other trades. And so our market assessment in terms of the development of these new products are while geared to the traditional segment, which is the supermarkets, is also looking at the wholesales and the corner shops and just the regular Jamaicans who
Don't trade.
don't trade, right? So, and that's we're going to be focusing on that heavily moving forward also, while we continue to build in the existing trade.
Thanks. And then this is my final query. I guess it would really come down to Exotic. So Exotic is a subsidiary, it's a brand under Spur Tree. One subsidiary is Canco. You mentioned earlier, you're looking to add new products for Exotic. But is it that Exotic is just a production center for some Spur Tree products, or is there something else?
Okay. Exotic does not have what we call a brand for itself. Like our Spur Tree is a brand, and Canco has a brand called Linseed Market. Exotic is a manufacturer and provider of products for other brands.
Contract
So-
manufacturing, basically.
Yes, so that's primarily the purpose of that. And most of those products are done for Spur Tree, especially with regards to canning line, canned products. So what we're doing in Exotic is to expand the provision beyond canned products based on needs that Spur Tree have and other customers have. So that's kind of the focus of that particular company.
Thanks again, Albert. Hi, Anan. Hi, Mohan.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Are there any questions online? Okay, can you go ahead and read them for us, please?
Good morning, everyone. This question is coming from Percival Arthurs. With the government planning to increase the share capital limit for the junior market companies from 500 to 750 million, does Spurtree plan to access this extra 250 million for further growth through a capital raise? Part A. And Part B, are there plans to list Canco Limited as a separate entity?
Yeah, go ahead, Albert.
Mr. Chair, thank you.
And
Okay, so the company, as we outline here, is in a growth phase, and we have carried out a number of investments, significant investment over the last year. And the need for additional funding is there. Now, we are very happy that the limit in terms of the equity that you can raise on the junior market has raised to being considered. I think
it's a premature question, but
it's being considered, and at the appropriate time, if that is approved, then we will make representation to the board as to, our need to access when available. But it's definitely an option that is on the table. The truth is that, and I can say this, I think that when we went to market, we would have access probably about somewhere in the region of 350 million. So it would not just be that additional 250 that would be available to us, but
more.
Right? It's about.
I think before I answer the Canco part of the question, I think that to the shareholder, that the executive and the board will always look at every option that suits the company and that can get us the leverage that we need for growth and profit. The second part of the question.
The second.
I can tell it hasn't come to the board, but
The second part of the question is that our investment in Canco and specifically the Linseed Market brand is to grow that brand. And everything is on the table in terms of the opportunity to take it whichever way the board decides. The executive will put before the board, and the board decides at the appropriate time.
so to that shareholder, I would like to thank you for the suggestion, and it's something that we will continue to look at. Now that you have brought it up, the board may be the ones pressing the management to take a closer look at it. So, good suggestion. Yes, next.
This comment is coming from Ravi Ramran. Great to hear the plans that the lessons have been learned and the company has active strategies to mitigate cost of sales and to diversify revenue. We should plan for a hurricane each year because we live in a hurricane zone.
Yeah. Yep.
Please confirm that the core essence of the business model is to generate revenue in foreign currency and to have expenses in local currency.
Absolutely. The CEO stated that clearly already, that 90% of our business is export, will continue to be export, and when we grow the local market, that will be gravy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have answered.
Yes, sir.
Good morning,
Morning,
everyone.
sir.
I'd like to congratulate,
Please state your name, sir.
Marty Fennell.
Mr. Fennell,
I'd like
good
to
morning.
congratulate the management team on the board for the performance
Thank you.
in the past year. I just have one curious question as a follow-up from what was said before. Is there a strategy in place to protect the company against a takeover, whether hostile or otherwise? It's a very attractive company. And I believe the first three original shareholders would add up to about 52%. But anything is possible in the future. So is there a strategy between all three of you to protect against an hostile takeover?
I will take that question. You know, I want to try and change your mindset,
Good.
Mr. Fennell. That takeovers, and hostile takeovers are not in the cards. Takeovers are not bad things in particular. Investments in growth, collaboration are all things that this board is going to keep looking at for as long as I sit at the chair at least. Because partnerships are the way we are going to grow.
Yeah.
You see, in Jamaica, we have very small companies. Even our big companies, even a company like Grace Kennedy or Wisync or Separate, internationally, they are tiny, tiny companies. The way that we are going to grow Spur Tree Spices and Canco and Linstead Market are through collaborations. I don't want to term it as takeover, but let's take it as partnerships and collaborations. And we will continue to look at how best we can grow the company's revenue and profits for you, our shareholders, by entering into these partnerships and making sure that your money continues to grow and expand in value. Okay?
Fair enough,
So
but
I don't want you to view anybody, any of the original shareholders that have sold shares have done so because of their wants and needs, not because they have been forced to sell it.
okay, well,
Okay?
thanks.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am. Oh, any other questions? Going once. I'll come to you, Mohan. Yes, sir. Come to the mic for me, please, and state your name. And then Mohan will have the final say, as he usually does.
Pleasant good morning, Lansell Bloomfield shareholder.
Morning, Mr. Bloomfield.
First, I have a commendation, 2 questions to follow. Commendation, Mr. Chairman, your all-purpose wet season. It is an excellent product that has a super taste in your stews, meats, and even the rice and peas. So that's the first one. Mr. Chairman, the company seems to be offering some excellent prices for its green season. Therefore, can a shareholder who has land available engage the company to supply any of these green seasons?
Absolutely. I mean, we would want to work with our shareholders as additional stakeholders in terms of suppliers. So I would encourage any shareholders, because one of the things that we spoke about here is the lack of adequate investment in agriculture. What we have is a short supply of raw material. So we encourage anybody to talk to us. We are always open to take on board new suppliers once the standards can be met.
Understood. Last question. Mr. Chairman, you currently carry the Aki and Kalaloo in brine. Is your R&D department looking at other possibilities?
I will ask Mr. Bailey to go ahead and answer that.
All right, so definitely there are considerations in terms of local use, because in terms of the export market, and especially the biggest export market, which is the US, and there are specific requirements as far as Aki is concerned based on the standard by the FDA. But we think that there are opportunities in the local market to present Aki outside of the current packaging being used.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Jagnarayan has the last say. There are no other pressing
Good morning,
questions.
everyone. First of all, let me thank, as a founding partner in Spur, I would like to thank the board for the contribution for the last year. I mean, I think it's I'm very pleased as I'm one of the major shareholders of Spur to have this board in place. I also would like to thank, there's one person here who is so much close to me, Albert Bailey. He is a great man, a great human being, great human being. Also, I would like to welcome here, there's a shareholder here who met me the other day, and it's very pleasing to my heart when I see ordinary people own shares in this company. And there's a gentleman who I met the other day, and he told me, he says, you know what? I buy a lot of your stuff. So I thought it was the seasoning he was buying. So then he said to me, I want to become one of your 10 top shareholders. Mr. Lou, I welcome you. Can you stand, please? I respect you, sir. I respect you, and I respect. For everyone here, as I said last year, it's your company. You are invited at any time to come and visit the factory. I'll give you my number. My cell number is 876-564-6482. If it's 876-564-6482. Once I'm available and you want to come and visit, it's your factory, it's your equipment. You are welcome to come and visit. You are welcome to come and visit. All right? And you are welcome to share your ideas and share your dream. Also, I want to thank, when I looked at this presentation here, and I looked at what we have done, these were dreams. I used to go in the supermarket, buy products. And the young lady who Albert mentioned happened to be my daughter. And I want to really, really commend her. Rani, Daddy is proud of you, very proud of you. You have made me proud, very proud. I mean, when I look at this, and I looked at these work here, it is work of what I call first world quality, And for a company of this size, we disagree a lot. We disagree, and she tells me that, I don't report to you. I report to the CEO. So, as I said, as a shareholder, as an executive director, I encourage you to eat more fried chicken and eat fried chicken. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jagnarayan. I did say he would have the last word, but we are going to take one more comment from Mr. Ravi Rambaran, who is one of our top shareholders. We should be careful not to focus too much on the short term. Value is created over the long term. Management has significant skin in the game, and so there is an alignment of financial interests, unlike many other listed companies. Wealth is created by long-term thinking and actions. And I am so happy you said that, Mr. Ramnaran, because that's exactly where our head is at. We're not looking at what we can do this quarter or next quarter. We're not getting our hands too tied up and getting vision locked by making sure that we have this quarter tied up and we make a profit this quarter, make a profit next quarter, so that we can issue a dividend. What we want to do is create the long-term value in this company through partnerships, through mergers, acquisitions, through developing the vertical integration to ensure that this company stays the course for the long haul. So thank you for your question, for your comment, and I promise you that's where our thinking is at. All right. Thank you very much for your participation and your questions and your comments. They are, as usual, very probing and interesting. I will now present ordinary resolutions outlined in the notice of the meeting on page 7 of the annual report. The voting instructions, as I said earlier, will be, there are no proxies, so those present will do so by a raise of hands, and those online will do so by the icon, the raise of hand icon. The first resolution, which requires shareholders' approval, is as follows: that the audited accounts for the year ended December 31st, 2023, together with the reports of the Board of Directors and the auditor, be and are hereby adopted. May I have a motion for the adoption of Resolution 1? Mr. Rose, seconded by, sir, can you give me a name, please? Mr. Barton. Mr. Mark Barton. My apologies. Mr. Mark Barton. Those in favor of the adoption of the resolution? Those against? Those abstaining? The ayes have it. Resolution is passed. Resolution number 2. CEO, can I ask you to come under this resolution, please? I have it here. You can.
Shareholders, resolution number 2 to re-elect the retiring directors of the company. 1/3 of the prevailing directors will retire by rotation pursuant to Article 114 of the company's Articles of Incorporation, and being eligible, they will be re-elected pursuant to Article 116. The directors retiring by rotation are Mr. Mitri Siaga and Ms. Danielle Terrelong, and they offer themselves for re-election. Resolution 2A, reappointment of Mr. Mitri Siaga. Those yes, sorry. Can we ask for a motion to move the resolution for the reappointment of Mr. Siaga? First by Mr. David Rose, and second, first by Mr. Barton, Mark Barton, second by Mr. David Rose. The second, may we now ask for a motion? Sorry, can we vote? Sorry. Can we vote for the acceptance of the resolution for those in favor of the resolution? Can you raise your hands? All right, we see many hands raised. Those against, will you also indicate by raising of your hands? Are there any abstaining? Can you? Okay, the ayes have it. The motion, the resolution is adopted. The resolution 2B for the reappointment of Ms. Daniel Terrylang. Can we have the moving of that motion? Mr. David Rose, seconded by, there's a lady there who had her hand up. Can you give us your name? Miss Marvelyn Moore. Gilmore. Okay, Marvelyn Gilmore. All right, can we have the vote? Those in favor, can you raise your hands and indicate? Thank you. Those against, can you also raise your hand if there are any voting against? None? Is there an abstaining? Okay, thank you very much. The resolution is carried. I'll turn back to.
What's that?
No, now that we have the reappointment, the chairman can continue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Also, and thank you for your vote of confidence. I appreciate it. Now you have lost my page, sir. Oh, 18, right, okay. Resolution number 3. That dividend of $0.015 per share cents. Well, no, it's $0.01 actually. Per share be paid on the 26th day of January 2024 to the shareholders on record as at December 22nd, 2023, to be approved. Those in favor, may I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Rose, a seconder by Mr. Burton. Those in favor? Those against? Those abstaining? The ayes have it, and the resolution is passed. Resolution number 4, that the Board of Directors be hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the directors of the company. Mr. Barton, seconded by Mr. Rose. Those in favor? Those against? Those abstaining? The ayes have it. Resolution is passed. The final resolution, that Messrs. Baker, Tilly, Strawn, Lafayette, commonly known as Baker Tilly, a firm of chartered accountants of 10 Cargill Avenue, Kingston, 10 Jamaica, be appointed auditor of the company with effect from the conclusion of the 2024 annual general meeting until the conclusion of the next AGM, to replace Messrs. BDO, who will not be reappointed as auditors, and that the directors of the company fix the remuneration of the new auditor of the company. Okay, sorry, I'm moving those separately. The first motion is to appoint Baker Tilly. Sir? Mr. Bloomfield, seconded by? Ma'am? Thank you very much. Loran Nachetta. Yes, we'll get that afterward. Those in favor? Those against? Those abstaining? The ayes have it. And the final part B of the said, a different resolution, that the directors of the companies fix the remuneration of the new auditor of the company. May I have a motion? Mr. Barton, seconded by Ms. Yvonne Williams. Those in favor? Those against? Those abstaining? The ayes have it. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the business of the meeting of the annual general meeting of Spur Tree Spices Limited. I want to thank you for your time today, and I would like to propose a motion for the termination of this meeting. Proposed, seconded. Thank you very much. Seconder, Mr. Barton. Thank you all very much. There are refreshments at the back. And those that, like me, that are freezing cold will run out of this air conditioning. This room is ridiculous, man. Bye, folks. Thank you.